Well, good morning, everybody. My name's Ray Kuhl. I'm CEO of PBSI Technology Solutions. Today, we're going to discuss Office 365 and the big name change that they have just completed and focus on how to understand Microsoft 365. Before we move further, I want to say, one, I hope everybody is doing well in this really difficult time. And if there's anything that we can do at PBSI to make your life easier from an IT perspective, please let us know. Specifically, whether you're a client or a non-client, if anyone needs assistance in arranging the technology associated with work from home, please let us know. We have been and will continue to help clients and non-clients alike at no charge to support work from home activities in this time. So thank you for joining. I generally speak quickly, and I'll probably do the same today. There are not a lot of slides. This is focused content today. So I want to say if you drift off, as I tend to do when listening to a webinar, you may miss some content because we're going to move quickly and be concise. So the topics today are simple. Names have changed for many Office 365 products. That platform no longer exists from Microsoft's perspective, although you'll see some interesting confusions, which I accept Microsoft will clear up. So what's changed, what's not changed? When all is said and done, what license options are we recommending and do we think make sense? We spend a ton of time researching all the time various Office 365, Microsoft 365 choices and options, and that's certainly been true over the past couple of weeks, and that has consolidated into some clear recommendations for most of us. We'll also look at some new Outlook settings. For those of you already using Microsoft 365, you'll see the features that I'm going to quickly demonstrate and overview. For those of you who haven't yet migrated to Microsoft 365, you'll see some new features that are available to those with an online subscription. And then we'll talk, as I am not a Microsoft expert. However, we're a Microsoft partner, and we try to listen carefully to both public and inside information to understand Microsoft strategy, and we'll summarize the things that we know and we believe. So first of all, I want to thank the dozens of you in attendance who are existing PBSI clients. We appreciate your support and consider our partnership really important. We have hundreds of clients in healthcare business and nonprofit in three state area we serve. For those of you not familiar with PBSI, as CEO, I've said this before, I'm blessed to be able to say that the great majority of our staff have been with us for 10 or more years. In the last 2 years, we've had zero turnover. So we've grown, but what I know for sure is that knowledge helps clients, and we've got a really knowledgeable staff. So there is no longer Office 365, but we provide Microsoft 365 help desk and licensing support. And we've learned from experience that the expertise of the vendor providing the support and setup and knowledge about the various options that are available are really important. We bring clients on all the time who used a different vendor. And this webinar is not about selling PBSI services. I'm simply mentioning that we've got lots of expertise that's helpful. And from that experience is the content of this webinar. So thank you for joining, whether new or not new to PBSI. So what has changed? Office 365 for Business is now called Microsoft 365. All former Office 365 products have been renamed Microsoft 365, but the primary reason for this webinar is that the names themselves have changed, and that will surely be confusing to a bunch of people. However, no prices have changed. One question many of you may ask is, will we need to do anything to retain the same product and the same pricing? And the answer is no. Your products will stay the same, your pricing will stay the same, but the descriptions of those products will change. So I'm going to try and summarize. There are many other options that I'm going to display, but the essential options for most of us are Exchange Online. That is one product where, and there's multiple plans, but the vast majority of folks, Exchange Online Plan 1. This is for folks using email only, Microsoft's email in the cloud. That name has not changed, nor has the price. So if you use Exchange Online, no change. Now, Office 365 Business Essentials is now called 365 Business Basic. So that's not a terribly confusing change for most. But I want to say that Business Basic adds for $1 a month, it adds access to web apps. So that's the real difference between those two products. And there aren't many where web apps are really an acceptable solution because you have no desktop apps. So 365 Business is now called Microsoft 365 Apps. Its price remains at $8.25 a month. And I make this comment here, rare use, because I think this is not a good licensing choice for almost anyone. And the reason is, for 25 cents more per month, you get the same set of things plus Teams and SharePoint and a couple of security items. So Exchange Online is a make sense plan for lots. And the very popular, and rightly so, Office 365 Business Premium is now renamed Business Standard. So there's a fairly new product. It's actually been around for a year. We've sold and delivered many of these licenses, but the product that formerly was called Microsoft 365 Business is now Microsoft 365 Business Premium. So the reason I've highlighted in color these two areas on my screen is that Business Premium used to be $12.50 a month. Now Business Premium is $20 a month. Now there are a ton of features included, but you're not automatically getting upgraded if you have Business Premium currently, or you had prior to April 21 when the name changed. Your new product will be Business Standard. Same features, no change, same price, but the product name you now use is Business Standard. So I want to talk a good bit today about Business Premium, the relatively newer bundle. And the reason is it includes a bunch of things that are really useful for very cost-effective bundling. So let me just detail this a bit. And we have links. We will publish to each of you an attachment that will come by PDF after this webinar that will include many of the links that we've accumulated over a long period of time that will really help. It delves into the details underneath a lot of these. So Business Standard above is $12.50 a month. For an additional $8.50 a month, you get Advanced Threat Protection, ATP, which is, we recommend to every single client. This is what gives you click protection. If you make any employee makes a click mistake in an email or an attachment, Microsoft protects that click and you get a message that says it was a bad click. So this is an important add-on, and to me, I think of the previous licensing as $14.50 a month because everybody should have the $2 add-on. All right. Then for those who need outgoing email encryption, there's another $2 a month option which can be added to Business Standard, and that is AIP, Azure Information Protection, and that allows you to encrypt an outgoing email. So we have a lot of clients that have that combination of licenses, and that combination is still available. However, now with this Business Premium bundle, there are some important things that are included. So email archiving, which means backups and even emails that you've deleted are stored forever by Microsoft in the cloud, and permits litigation hold and e-discovery features that there are links that describe these features. But the email archiving by itself is a feature that some clients have chosen to license for $3 a month. Now that's included. Data loss protection, there are several things included in this, but the basic essential of this is email sensitivity rules, meaning that filters can be set for both incoming and outgoing emails that would highlight the word sex or the word SS number or anything that's formatted to look like a social security number. So you can set sensitivity, and this can be used if the outgoing file is a CAD drawing, or you can just imagine all kinds of rules that can be set. that might allow you to prevent or warn if there are certain kinds of emails coming in or out. So it's a really useful thing for security. Another included item is Azure Active Directory Plan 1, which includes multi-factor authentication and conditional access. Multi-factor authentication, I think most people understand now, and this is recommended for anybody using email through Microsoft or really through any other source, where you can prevent spoof and phishing problems from doing damage by requiring multi-factor authentication. We required it for every employee at PBSI, and Microsoft recommends it for every user. Conditional access, meaning you can set conditions for the access to any application. It's quite granular, so that your controller in your organization can access a certain app or a certain set of files where someone else can't. So it can be by group of people, by individual person, and it's useful. Then something new in Microsoft's family, and when I say new, it doesn't necessarily mean within the last week, but relatively new. Microsoft has released this thing they call Intune Mobility and App Protection, which allows control and limitation placing and tracking on employees' iPads, iPhones, Androids, or remote devices. This includes, by the way, a feature that some clients currently pay for with a subscription to Absolute/CompuTrace security that allows you to remotely wipe a Windows laptop or tablet if they're stolen, and this is now included in the bundle. So what Microsoft's individual pricing totals up to $39 is now available for $20. So this is a make sense option for a lot of people to consider. So the primary thing I want to communicate is if you had 365 Business Premium, you now have Business Standard. If you want to consider the new Business Premium, feel free. It's certainly a value. Okay, moving on. What hasn't changed? Exchange Online, as I mentioned, same product name, same price. And the names Office 365 Advanced Threat Protection and Office 365 Azure Information Protection also have not changed, and they remain at $2 a month, same pricing. For those who use enterprise licenses, there are still Office 365 enterprise licensing plans, and there are also Microsoft 365 enterprise plans. And this is another topic that will confuse many. The Office 365 Enterprise E1, E3, E5 retain their same name, retain their same price. The enterprise plans are priced differently and they include a different set of features. So the bottom line, unless, except for really larger organizations, there are rare cases anymore that folks will need. If you're in a couple hundred employee organization or less, it's rare that you'll need an enterprise plan. And primarily that's because the new Microsoft 365 Business Premium has eliminated the need. For example, Office 365 E3 Enterprise has been a popular product in the past, $20 a month. Now, switching to Business Premium, you get more features for the same price. So this is something really worth evaluating if you're an Office 365 E3 user. Okay. For our friends in the nonprofit world, Microsoft, in all of their licensing and their descriptions, they make changes fairly regularly. It's simply that the recent change has been more radical than most. But for nonprofits, they have simplified, and it really comes down to two main choices. The current business standard, which used to be Business Premium, which is $12.50 a month for-profit corporations, is available for $3 a month for nonprofits. There's also a free option for web-only apps, but that just doesn't help many people. So $3 a month, including Office apps. And then the Business Premium, which is the new $20 a month for-profit, Microsoft, in conjunction with TechSoup, has priced this that your first 10 licenses are free. You can have 10 users that have email, Office apps, all the security features free. For the 11th and beyond, $5 a month. And this is clearly recommended because this $3 a month option doesn't include click protection, which frankly anybody using email should have today. So for nonprofits, this is pretty much the way to go. And of course, there are always exceptions. So summarizing, what combinations make sense? To me, there are 3 plus nonprofit. And one is, if all you need is email, then email, Exchange Online, Advanced Threat Protection, $6 a month. Your email is covered and it's secure. Some may add $2 a month encryption protection, making that for some users $8 a month. But Exchange Online is still a very legitimate choice if you need email only. Business Standard, which used to be Business Premium, the way that we see this, there's really no $8.50 a month option at all. It's $12.50 a month, but that's made up of $4 a month for email, add $8.50 to come to the total, and each one of you should have advanced threat protection. So the Office apps, email, and click protection, $14.50 a month, very legitimate choice. Then comes Business Premium, the new bundled option, where all of these things together that I just mentioned previously are bundled together for $3.50 a month, and it's really a wise choice for lots and lots of people because the security elements that have been introduced have some value. They just don't have value to everyone, so this is a choice that you need to make. And then for nonprofits, as I mentioned, the Business Premium at $5 a month is probably the make sense. So this is best way I know to take a confusing mass of dozens or hundreds of options and consolidate them to some simple recommendations. Okay, I'm going to do some very short demonstrations now of some things. Outlook security features. For those of you who haven't seen what advanced threat protection does, I'm going to demonstrate this real quickly. So this $2 a month option, added to either Exchange Online or your business apps, gives you the ability to, when you send an outgoing email, when you click on an email, which then goes out to Microsoft's cloud to send, Microsoft adds a filter that each click is sent through a site they call Safe Links, and what it does is fully explodes whatever was going to happen with that email, and instead of a virus or malware or ransomware, the user simply gets back this message that the website's been classified as malicious. And I'm going to go to my own inbox and down to my security folder. And I will find a bad link. So this is a known bad link. I'm going to click it right now. And Microsoft sends this out, adding safe links in front. And there's my message. So instead of getting ransomware or whatever would have happened with that, I simply get a message and I go back to where I was. So it's very simple. Second thing I'm going to demonstrate is if you have AIP, Advanced Information Protection. I'm going to send an email, could be to anybody, and I want to encrypt this. So now the reason I would encrypt this is it has sensitive comment. It's an Excel file with social security numbers, or it has patient information. Because I have the $2 a month AIP, I choose Options, Permissions, Encrypt. And when I send that, the recipient, instead of getting my email, they get a message in their inbox saying, you have a message from Ray Cool. Click here to either enter your one-time passcode. And it works very efficiently. Probably most, if not all of you connected to this call have experienced receiving an encrypted email. And what happens with that, by the way, is that all replies are also encrypted. So it sets up a secure tunnel between you and the recipient that replies back and forth remain encrypted. Okay, I'm going to talk about some other options, and this will be very brief, that many of you know about, some of you may not. There's a feature called Focused Inbox. There's a choice for inbox spacing. There's a choice to speak your emails, voice to text, which really works quite well. And there's a choice to hear your email. And I'm going to talk about each of those real quickly. So which was the first thing I was going to talk about there. Oh, focused inbox. Okay, so in my inbox, I have two tabs, focused and other. And in my other tab, what I have is a bunch of emails that I want to receive, but these are all things I've subscribed to and I just don't want them cluttering up my real inbox. So the process for spam review in Office 365 should look like this. There's really two steps, and I do this multiple times a day. First, I look at my junk email folder, and that's where spam goes in Microsoft 365. And I scroll down here, and I quickly look to see if there are any things that I want to keep. And if I wanted to keep this particular thing, I'd right-click on it, and I could say, give a bunch of different choices. But what I don't want to do, the reason I'm here is you don't want to delete. What you want to do is empty folder. And what that does, if you see this message, says it will be permanently deleted, and the number of deleted items I have has not changed. So it avoids a bunch of things going into your deleted items folder that you'll have to manually work with at a different time. So once you've gotten rid of your junk, and the rules in 365 can be filtered, Microsoft spam filtering is really quite good. It's we used to sell different spam filtering products, but we find Microsoft's spam filtering is really good. So in my inbox, I have this focused and other, and here is the email from Ray that was encrypted. And if I want to say, set a rule here and move, I can make this choice, always move to other or move to other. So here's the choice I wanted to mention, that if you have something in your inbox that you say, yeah, I don't want to delete that or stop getting them, but I don't want them to clutter my inbox, I can say always move to other, and it sets that rule. And now anytime that an email from Ray comes to my inbox, it'll go to focused, or excuse me, to other. So the choice here in setting this is I choose view and focused inbox. If I click it one time, it goes between all and unread. I click it again, it goes between focused and other. So view, focused inbox. So there's another spacing choice. You see how the spacing of my email, I can click view tighter spacing, and it toggles between tighter and non-tighter. One of the things that Microsoft did, really without making any of us aware, is they set the new default to more spacing between the emails, and I like to see more things on my screen, so it's easy to change. So speaking your email, it's simply start a new email and a dictate button appears, so that I start a new email to myself, and my dictate button shows up. Ray, comma, new line. Please don't send me any more emails, period. I really don't like to hear from you, period. So there you go, stop dictating. And similarly, there's a button, there's a button for listen to your email. Click on the email, click that button. And then I won't demonstrate this, but I'll mention that finding previous email, I find a lot of people really have some confusion over this. The default should be that when you're in your inbox, and you want to find something, I've selected my inbox. If I want to find something from Ray, it will look both in folders and subfolders. So I see that some of these things are in my inbox. Some of these things, I've deleted a lot of my own email, as is probably wise for a lot of people. But if I select a different folder and I choose search, then only the things in that folder or its subfolders will appear. So if you want to find everything, including your deleted mail, your sent mail, everything, start from your inbox and do your search. And if you want to change your settings, here are the choices: file search, or options search, current folder. So, and we'll make this slide deck available for those of you who request it. We'll also send links with this information, or an attachment, I'm sorry, with links to each of you. All right, managing spam. So I mentioned junk email, focused inbox, and one other comment. Many folks, including me, we get an email, we think, I this seems like this could be a problem email. I'm not sure though. So what I want to tell you, any client, simply forward the email to PBSI support and say, is this okay? And we treat this as a priority because we know that this kind of email received from a client means somebody sitting at their desk wanting to make a decision what they should do with this email. So you might not get an immediate reply, but many times you will get a very immediate reply, and we have tools that we can look at. For any of those who aren't familiar with this, security training is really important. We provide a bunch of options, including free options for security training, which is an important component. All staff need to be trained, but just know that you can forward an email to us if you're concerned, and we'll handle it. There is a new button that just showed up, and many of you may not. There are different release patterns for Microsoft Office. So if you don't see this on your inbox button, don't be concerned. It will show up at some point in time, but that is this report message button. So if I got a message here, I can select report and I can say this is junk or it's a phishing email. And if I'm not going to follow through on this because I'll get this next option that says report or don't report. And if I report, it not only sets it as junk for me, but it reports it to Microsoft. So they continue to make changes, and these kind of changes they're making security-wise are only for Office 365. These don't get backfilled to Office 2009 or other apps. Okay, real quickly, future strategy. We're almost done. It is very clear that Microsoft is moving away from one-time licenses. Personally, as a business person, I hate subscription products, but the fact is Microsoft 365 is a really good thing, and I recommend it for everyone. But it's whether I recommend it or not, it's clear that Microsoft's heading in that direction. They've said clearly they will never, or they have no plans to stop offering single license products. So that means there probably will be a follow-on to Office 2019 called Office 2022 or whatever it is. But there will be limitations. There already are, and they'll increase. So single device licenses, now $250. The exact option that gives that to you on a subscription basis is $825 a month, and it's about 30 months where the 365 option is less expensive. But the point really is that during those 30 months, you get a better product and it's more secure, and you get to install it on 5 different devices. This doesn't mean, for those of you not familiar, a license to Microsoft 365, if you have the apps, you can put it on 5 devices, meaning your PC, your laptop, your home PC. It doesn't mean you and the 4 desks next to you, but it works on Macs and iPads and iPhones and Androids, and it's very useful. And anybody who has a home PC immediately becomes a no-brainer, because instead of buying 2 copies of Office 2019 for one 365, it's intended to follow the person. And if your organization licenses this for you, it's intended that you also get, as a benefit of being an employee, the ability to use this on your personal devices. So 2019 was frozen when it was released, and it won't be upgraded. The 365 licenses also give you web apps, which have limited value, but there are cases where it could be beneficial. The the one-time license doesn't include cloud storage, where cloud storage is included with 365, including OneDrive and SharePoint, which are just variations on the same thing for yourself and your team. And we're going to include links that compare these various options for you. So current limitations, Office 2019 is now a subset of Office, and the difference will continue to get larger. Security features are largely available only to subscription licenses. And when 2019 was released, it was the first time ever that it wasn't the latest and greatest. It was already behind the then current release of 365. That will continue to happen. So of particular importance, the apps, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, they don't, in my opinion, change radically enough to be relevant as far as the new features versus the quote old features. But Outlook features are changing all the time, and the new features many times are important or really useful. And the same thing is true of security. So recommendation I would make is don't ever again purchase a single license, Office 2019 or whatever the next. As you need to do that, instead, buy a license to 365, whichever license makes sense, and be strategic now. It's fine to make the change one person or one PC at a time, but at some point in time, you'll want to be strategic and change everybody. So summary, evaluate current licenses. This is something really that is worth focusing on. We find when we take a new client in managing their Microsoft Office licenses, that many are overpaying for licenses. And the primary culprits are people are paying for licenses for former employees. You don't need to pay for a license for a former employee. They're all free. We set them up as either a shared mailbox or an alias account. Alias accounts mean that any incoming mail is auto-forwarded. So the same thing is true of any alias account. They're all free. Info at, service at, webmaster at, so forth. As long as they're going to a real person with a license, there's free. So we find tons of cases where people are paying for licenses. It was set up that way, nobody reviewed it. And then the same is true, review active license. And for some clients with a lot of staff, we do this monthly, but at least periodically, you want to make sure you or your vendor, which if you're a PBSI client, we do for you, review your licenses and compare it with your current active list. And almost every time when we do a review, we realize that there are either too many or improperly licensed users out there. And we'll do this review for free on request, both for clients and non-clients. Send us a list of your 365 accounts and license types, which is an easy export from Microsoft site. And we can quickly look at that and with a few questions, make some recommendations. Consider if you don't use advanced threat protection or Azure information protection for encrypting emails, consider adding those, especially the advanced threat protection. And if you're using the old business premium, consider going to the new. It's more expensive, but a lot of value. So we're finished. And I want to thank you for your attendance. And again, for those of you who are clients, thank you for your longstanding support. You'll receive an email when you exit this webinar, and it will give you the chance to ask some questions. I'm going to now, and I hope everybody has a good day today.